Your homework last night started here on page 24. I don't want to go over every single question if you don't need it, so let's do the infamous show of fingers so I can see who got this right and if I need to go over any of it. So starting with question number 24, the graph shows that high tides in Boston occur approximately every. What did you guys pick? High tides occur every. I'm not sure how all of you got this wrong. Like literally every single person holding your hands up. It's not 2. Wait, everybody reread the question and redo it. Oh, Landon, put your hand down. Landon does not have to redo it. Better read the question. Better read the question.
Also, it's 6 hours, so 2 tides, which, that's a 6, so.
Not 1.
It's 3, it's 3.
Okay, guys, where did you guys get the 6 hours from?
That's what we talked about
No, what did I say? The 6 hours, those videos showed 6 hours between what and what?
2 tides.
High tide and low tide.
Oh, so
This question says high tides. The graph shows high tides in Boston occur. Here's a high tide. Here's a high tide. Here's a high tide. Here's a high tide. Little after 6. Little after 6. Little after 6. Little after 6. Did we even look at the graph?
Yeah.
Baloney. Oh, but you read the question wrong. You were thinking between high tide and low tide. All right, I'll buy that. It is approximately every 12 hours. It is a little, and you can see it does get farther away from 6, so it is 12.5 hours. Guys, read the question carefully and read the graph carefully. So those of you who went off the top of your heads and picked 6 hours, that's from high tide to low tide. We need high to high tide. All right, let's try this next one again. What'd you get for number 2? If the trend continues, when will the next low tide in Boston be? What did you pick? I have a feeling we might need to redo this one. Why don't you guys double check your answers? Because now you know how long is it between low tide and low tide? 12 hours. Use that information to answer this question.
Ohio.
So working through this, when was the last low tide on this graph? Approximately what time? 3 p.m. So here's the last low tide on the graph. If I come down, it's about halfway between noon and 6 p.m. So like whoever said that, it is about 3 p.m. So knowing that high tides happen every 12 hours, low tides, by the way, also happen every 12-ish hours. So 3 p.m., when's the next one going to be? 3 a.m. Now let's double check. Would it make sense that it would be a 0.4? Were all of these right around 0.4? They certainly were. So yes, the only one that's 3 a.m. Okay, this one's going to require a little bit of thinking for the next one. Let me just see what you originally said for question 3. If the gravitational of the moon had a greater influence on the ocean tides, what would change? So let me just see what you guys said. If it had a greater pull. Okay, looks like we definitely need to talk about this one. So gravitational attraction of the moon was greater. What does that mean? If it's the gravitational attraction is greater, what would it do to the water? Pull the water more. So what would happen to the high tide? They'd get higher. But what would happen to the low tide? So if I'm pulling the water harder this way and it's getting higher, where's that water coming from? It's coming from the low tides. I don't just get that water out of nowhere. So if it's pulling harder and making the high tides higher, then the low tides are going to get even lower. So we need high tides high and low tides lower. So that looks like answer number 1. The high tides would get higher while the low tides are getting lower. Stop, Alex.
How would, if it's pulling more, right?
So because the water has to come from somewhere. So there's always the same amount of water in the entire world. So So if we're pulling one side farther this way, the other side's gonna be like running out of water, I guess, so it's gonna be. And by lower, I mean farther out to sea, like you'd have to walk farther down the beach to get it. Make sense now? Awesome. All right, so see here, these questions, remember how I said you don't have to memorize absolutely, like I don't want you to memorize the pattern, I want you to be able to pick up one location. They ask you a bunch of questions with one of these diagrams, which we've been using for a while now. First question, how long does it take to get from 3 to 7? Show of fingers to see if I need to go over this one. How long would it take? Okay, I'm seeing a couple different answers. The two answers I'm seeing, one of them is correct. Let's break this down. So it sounds like I need to break it down. So it's asking to get from 3 to 7. By the way, how long would it take to get from 3 to 3? Almost a whole month. What'd you say? It's 27.3 days for the moon to go around the earth.
What does 0.3 mean, 3 hours?
It means 0.3 of a day. So that would be, I can figure it out. 8 hours. Yeah, because 8 times 3 is 24. So wait, where were we? It takes almost a whole month to go from 3 to 3. What do you know about 3 to 7? Half of that. So if it takes about a month to go around, how long will it take to go halfway? 2 weeks, because half a year of a month is about 4 weeks. Half of that would be about 2 weeks. Teachable moment. Not sure if we talked about this in this class. I think we did, but I'm not positive. So on a side note, so I'm not going over homework right now. I'm making sure you know something. You guys all just told me the correct answer. It takes 27.3, about a month, for the moon to go around the earth. My next question, though, is how long will it take to go from a full moon back around to a full moon then? What do you think? So let me restate my statement now that you're all listening. You told me it takes the moon 27.3 days to go around the earth. Everybody agree with that? 27.3? Where do we get that information from, by the way? Earth science reference table, sure, astronomy as well, but it is in your reference table. It's not something you have to memorize. So it takes the moon 27.3 days to revolve around the earth. Go from here to here. So if this is a full moon, which it is, how long in between full moons? That would make sense, right? So if it takes 27.3 days to go from here to here, it would also take 27.3 days to go from a full moon to a full moon, but it doesn't. Here's why. Why don't I be Earth? If I'm Earth, and the moon's going around me, right? I actually have a moon. I'll break out a pretend moon here. Here's the moon. I'm looking at it right now and it looks to me like a full moon. See how it's all light on the side I'm seeing? I'm cheating a little, yes. So there, yes, it takes 27.3 days for the moon to go around me. But then my next question is how long between full moon and full moon, and it's not 27.3. How can that be? No, that's to go from here to here, halfway around. We're not talking about the question anymore. So my question again is how long does it take to go from full moon to full moon? And it looks like the moon's just going around me, so it should be 27.3. But what's Earth doing in those 27 points? It is also rotating, but it's also revolving. So yeah, I gotta get those words straight. So we need the moon to get back to this position where I see the whole lit up side. But in the meantime, while the moon's going around the earth is taking a step forward in its path. So it takes those extra 2-ish days for the moon to catch up and get back into the full position. So let me Say that again. 27.3 days for the moon to go around the earth. But while the earth or the moon is revolving, the earth is also revolving. So the earth is a little bit farther in its path. So it takes a couple days for the full moon to catch up. And there's actually 29.5 days between full moons. So between one full moon and the next full moon is 29.5 days. So it's actually tomorrow night is officially,
I turned all the lights off and I looked and I could see the whole thing. I couldn't see the black part.
yes. So I looked last night too. And if we hadn't looked it up in one of my other classes, well, actually, wasn't it this class? It doesn't matter. If I hadn't looked it up and known it was tomorrow, I would have agreed with you. There was a teeny tiny bit missing from the last.
And then I'm like, I can't see it, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was, I would have agreed with you. Looking up last night and again tonight will look the same. It will look almost like a full moon, but I guess if we got out our measuring instruments, it would have been a little shorter because it was missing a tiny bit from the left side, just a tiny bit. I knew somebody was going to say that today, so I'm actually really, really impressed that you looked. Almost as nerdy as other people who think about me when they're home. All right, let's move on. So done teachable moments here. Now question 5. As we go from 2 to 6, 2 to 6, the visible portion does what? Let me see your answers to see if I have to go over it. What'd you answer for question 5 is what I'm asking. Okay, I'm seeing a couple different answers. How did you guys go about answering this one? Okay, so, and what one did you pick?
Pick 3 also.
Okay, 3 is not it. However, you did it the way I would have. So what, did you label them by any chance? Okay, so the only way I could possibly think about doing this is actually figuring out what the moon is here at 2. How do I go about doing the whole Post-it note thing? What do I got to do first to see what phase of the moon number 2 is? You know, yeah, so first I got to tilt my paper so it's me, Earth, Moon. Cover up the back half. What moon is that? Go through the questions. Mostly light, mostly dark, half and half. Mostly dark. What kind of moon is mostly dark? No. This is a crescent. Which kind of crescent? Waxing or waning? Light on the right. Here is my right hand. The light is on the right. Number 2 is a waxing crescent. What's number 3? Waxing quarter. It's a half and half with the light on the right. So going from 1 to 2, what happened to the lit up part? How much did it grow? Did it increase or decrease? Increase. Now I go to moon number 4. Notice how I turned my paper. Mostly light, mostly dark, half and half. Mostly light, which is a gibbous. And is it waxing or waning? Waxing. So what's happening as we go from 2 to 3 to 4 to the lit up part? It's still increasing. The light, we go from a little bit of light to half and half to mostly light. What's moon number 5? That's a full moon. So we're still increasing. We go from a little bit of light, half and half, mostly light, all the way light. But what happens when we get to 6? Mostly light, light on the left. This is a waning gibbous. But what happened to the lit up side now? Or what happened to the lit up portion? Did it get bigger or smaller? Okay, so we went from 2, which was a crescent, to a quarter, to a gibbous, to a full, back to a gibbous, and then finally number 6 would have been, oh, that was number 6, sorry. So that was a gibbous. So which one was the right answer as we go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6? It was 4. First it increased. It increased and it decreased. What causes the moon to show phases? Show of answers, please. The phases of the moon are only due to one of these. It is the revolution of the moon. The fact that the moon goes, look, in these different spots. So see how it's revolving. Number 4 or 3 tried to trick you because it said the rotation of the sun. So it may hold still, but it still rotates, but it's not changing. It's just one ball of light. And question 7. What device, when placed on the moon, would provide evidence of the moon's rotation? Only one of these provides evidence of rotation, and when we talked about it, I said you just got to memorize it. Which one is it? It is the Foucault pendulum. Oops, and this question's still about this. So the next question did ask, when the moon is in position 2, which phase is it? Well, it's helpful that we already went through the process. It is a waxing crescent. Which one of these is a waxing crescent, people? Oh, it is 2. That's a waxing crescent. We want, okay, which statement correctly describes the type of eclipse that was occurring in the position where the Earth, which one is these? Sorry. So first of all, is this a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse? Let's start there. If you're standing on Earth, what's getting blocked out, the moon or the sun? It's sun. And who's going to see that solar eclipse then, A or B? A, what's up with B? They're on the other side, it's nighttime there. So this will be a solar eclipse from A. That's answer 3. Lottie skipped number 10 because it wasn't multiple choice. I was feeling nice today, so I still gave you credit even if you skipped it, but I shouldn't have. Where do the dots go to indicate high tide? Alex, how do you describe that? What? You don't know how to describe it? You can point to them, right?
Yeah.
High tides, what do they do with the moon? High tides,
Pull.
they do. The moon pulls the high tide. What I was getting at is they line up with the moon. There will always be 2 high tides on Earth, and they will always be in a straight line with the moon, no matter where the moon is. So your dots needed to be there. Ooh, flashback to chapter 1. Are the ocean changes associated with tides and the moon phases, are they cyclic or non-cyclic? And are they predictable or unpredictable? Let's see if you guys got this one right. Show of fingers, please. Yeah, it is cyclic and predictable. They happen in a cycle. Legit, if you were curious what the phase of the moon was going to be on your 21st birthday, you could figure it out because it's that predictable. If you wanted to party on the beach for your 21st birthday, you could figure out if it was going to be a high tide or a low tide because it's that predictable.
You promote partying.
What did I say about partying?
Partying is good.
Said, do you like when you turn 21, you want to party on the beach?
Oh, that, I guess, yeah, I meant like hang out on the beach.
You use that.
Ocean tides, again, they are described as, which one of these says it correctly? It is number 2. Spring tides occur in the when the difference in height between high tides and low tides is the greatest. Which 2 positions of the moon will have spring tides on Earth? What'd you guys say? Spring tides, highest high tides, lowest low tides. You are answering number 1, which is perfect. Look, they are 1 and 5 because they line up perfectly. 3 and 7, those will be the neap tides. The difference is the sun's getting in on the action for the spring tide. I did forget to mention that. Thank you for asking. So we want the Earth, the moon, and the sun to be lined up perfect for a spring tide. Other tides, this would be the neap tide. This is when the sun has no pull on the whole situation, and we'll have low high tides and high low tides, so a very small difference. The ones I showed you yesterday, those were all spring tides. Really, really low tides, really high tides. And again, which one of these will have, with the highest high tides? Again, same scenario. We want lined up perfectly with the earth, moon, and sun. That's answer 1. How'd you guys do on the moon phases, tides, and eclipses? You ready for a take-home quiz on that tonight? Okay, it will be, I think I made it 12 questions long. I'll hand that out to you at the very end of class. I did just want to do one small new thing, and we're gonna go to, I think it's page 29. It's titled Galaxy right here. We just got to get a little notes about the galaxy out of the way, and then I will hopefully let you start your take-home quiz early. Do you guys know, let's actually start at the beginning. What's in our solar system? Okay, so let's start again. I changed up my words a little bit. What is our solar system?
Stars.
Not the stars and the planet. Yeah, everything in our solar system. So what's our solar system? The sun and the planets. We did that one so this is not notes today. We already did this. It should be on the page before here. So our solar system is our sun. Did we not get our solar system? All right, let's start there at our solar system. So this is page 24. So we gotta go back a page. That's all right.
I don't like it.
Okay, we're not gonna do more. We're just gonna get it all through. So, yep, page 24, I'm sorry, page 28. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know where. Oh, I got the card. Oh, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So some of you were Mr. D did this one.
Thanks.
Were you absent that day?
Yeah.
Guys, when you're absent, you gotta make up the word, okay? So our solar system, just review, what's in our solar system? No, solar system,
It's the sun and the planet.
the sun and the planets that go around it, including the asteroid belt, some comets, and some meteors. The only thing in our solar system, how many stars are in our solar system?
I counted 1.
1. There is only 1 star in our solar system, and it's the sun. There are no other stars in our solar system. So,
Technically, the sun is a bunch of stars.
no, it's not.
Technically, the sun is
The
just.
sun is not a bunch of stars.
So there is 1 star in our solar system, and it's named the sun.
But
The rest of our solar system are the planets and anything else that revolves around our sun.
So who's the father of the sun?
So there are no other stars in our solar system. Stop.
Do we know what forms this from?
Yes, we're getting to that later today. Well, looks like we'll get to it tomorrow. So our solar system is just the sun, the 9 planets, 8 planets, and then the dwarf planet, and then asteroids and comets, which you already took notes on page 28. The next thing we gotta talk about is a galaxy. Ever heard the saying, in a galaxy far, far away? The start of a television show?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, I don't know that one though. So we're showing our age difference. Guys, stay with me. How many galaxies do you think there are?
Million, billion.
There's a lot. I don't know. I don't have a number. So in our solar system, there's 1 sun, a star. Lots and lots of stars in the galaxy. So now on page 29, a galaxy is a system that includes billions of stars, planets, moons, and other space matter. There are billions of stars in a galaxy. Many, many, many of those stars have their own solar system. So we're not the only solar system out there. There are other solar systems around other stars. So there are other planets out there. There are other moons out there. Anybody know the name of our galaxy? The Milky Way. Because not named after the candy bar. So if you are able to get into a location where there is zero light pollution, I have only been to one place where I have seen this. And that was this past year when I was out in Oregon. It was pitch black. You guys might be able to see it if you live somewhere where there are zero lights. When you look up the Milky Way, you can see parts of the Milky Way from Earth. It looks like somebody spilled some milk and made it a Milky Way, like a milky path.
You ever seen the?
It was probably people who don't drink milk.
I bet you haven't seen the other plane. You can see them talking about.
Oh yeah, I've seen the planets, but yeah, you're right, you probably can see them nice.
At night.
Yeah.
when it's dark, you can see the moon, it's like dark, you can still see the outside of the moon.
Hey, we do have to get through this, so let's make, what, you got it?
What was created first, Milky Way or can't be?
Obviously, the actual Milky Way. Anybody know what shape our galaxy is?
Like so like a, oh no.
It's a spiral.
No,
It's a spiral. And you have a picture of that spiral galaxy right there below where you just wrote.
I thought it was like a big oval.
So I think, are you looking at this shape right here? So it depends on how you look at it. This would be looking down, like if you could hover over our galaxy, it would look like this. This would be if you were able to like zoom out and look at it from the side. So you can see in our galaxy, most of the stars are clustered in one plane. There are some spread out, but most of them are clustered here. And the center is a little bit bulgy. And for the record, see that one little teeny tiny dot right there? That's the sun. So you can kind of see that the Milky Way is huge and the sun is pretty insignificant.
So I saw this TikTok and it was like, you started on Earth and slowly got bigger. And then they're just like.
Yes, it's almost disturbing.
I know, it's scary, isn't it? Very white.
So what Phoenix was just talking about is he saw a TikTok that kind of emphasized how small we are. By we, I mean our giant sun. Our giant sun is one of these little tiny specks in just this one galaxy. There are many, 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 many more galaxies out there. So this is actually a topic that actually disturbs my own children to think about. And I don't want to do it to any of you, but yes, we're pretty insignificant and space is huge.
That's why at the end of the day, nothing matters.
Okay, but you still gotta graduate and get jobs, so let's pass this earth science class, yeah.
None of that is sun explosion wouldn't help the rest of the people.
I do know that, it's like I'm an
There
earth
we
science
go.
teacher.
Let's
Let's get the universe out of the way as well. So how big's the universe? Is it bigger or smaller than a galaxy? Way bigger, because how many universes are there? One, there's only one universe.
So the universe is holding all the galaxies. out?
Yes.
Okay.
So I know you guys have heard of multiverses and alternate universes. That's science fiction, at least for now, or fantasy, at least for now. So let's not ask the what ifs in that question right now. There-
Same as this backwards.
That's fine. It's in a different solar system, in a different universe, or in the same universe though.
You're on your spaceship.
Guys, we need to get through this.
Fortnite Island. That's how
If there's other.
What created the universe?
God, the Big Bang.
The Big Bang Theory. So what is the Big Bang Theory? What do you think happened?
Big
Chris, somebody's already out, so can't leave.
Something really.
A Big Bang, legit. That is what the Big Bang Theory says. That a giant explosion took place that started the formation of Earth. And if you're now gonna ask me, well, Mrs. Ritz, how can an explosion cause the universe? I don't know. And if you're going to say, what kind of earth science teacher are you that you don't understand? I will refer you to Stephen Hawking, okay, because he died, so you guys can't talk to him, but he was a genius scientist. He still couldn't figure it out. I am not a genius scientist, I am just your earth science teacher.
No, young Sheldon figured it
Young Sheldon was working on this. Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory, the show. This is what they were working on.
You know how they think the theory and not actually true?
Okay, so, and it's not that it's not actually true, it's just that it isn't a law. There is no math to prove it yet.
Yeah.
Never will be.
But there is. There is some evidence, and it's called the red shift, and that is, I guess, where we will stop for today. I'll explain the red shift tomorrow. You stop talking when I'm talking. You do have homework. It is a quiz. Just like, oh shoot, we didn't get to go over the last quiz. I guess we'll go over that tomorrow. Just like the last quiz, it is counting as a grade. I would try it on your own first, but then look up the stuff you don't know. Like I explained the other day, when you look up stuff you don't know, you'll learn it. It's called studying. I know how to fix my dishwasher. They got one. I know how to fix my dishwasher because I looked it up. I now know something I didn't know before because I looked it up. If you look up answers, make sure you're understanding what you're looking up. Oh, thank you.